Well, Jill, welcome. I went and looked. I don't think we've ever done any tapping together before. Is that right?
We've not, no.
Okay, great. So this will be a really good way to see what it's like to start and see what comes up for the very first time with me. Have you tapped with anyone else before?
Just once before.
Okay. Well, there might be some similarities, there might be some differences, but you got my how to tap video, so you've gone through all that, and you got your water, right? So
Yes.
you're dehydrated. Okay. So I've got half an hour. No promises that will clear away everything that's in the way of whatever, but you'll get to experience some tapping and, well, we'll see where we get. Okay. So tell me what it is you'd like to work on. What would you like to change?
Well, in my business, I'm having some good months, and they're usually followed by um, like a slim month. And so I would love to smooth out the ups and downs, like keep it on the upslide.
Right. Right. Okay.
And
So,
I'm wondering if I feel like I'm creating that of, not, I don't know, not staying consistent in my own mind.
okay. Yeah. And
I
that,
kind of feel like I have a big month and I go, oh, and then wait for another one to happen.
okay. That makes sense. I've seen that it's sort of like a roller coaster, right? I'm doing
Yeah.
good, not so well, good, not so good, right? And I've seen that happen with clients who've had a subconscious rule around I'm not supposed to have that much money, one way or the other. So, how far back does this go for you? Way back to the beginning, or did it start later on?
I think, well, it's hard to say. In the beginning, there wasn't as much coming in any month.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it really in the last 6 to 12 months, um, this has been an issue. And I did have to go through a lot of reframing around money because I live a pretty simple life. And so I really had to reframe it around wanting to serve more people. And
Right.
therefore, I have to make money to do that because I need to charge people for them to take it seriously. And since the coaching that I do is pretty intense and it's a lot of personal development, and so somebody really has to be invested to do it, so they have to pay for that because money helps them get invested. so,
Uh-huh.
so it's a long story for me to get to the part of me making money, and
Right.
so
Okay. All right.
rather than maybe there's something that I could just deserve to enjoy it too, or I don't know.
Okay. So I'm jotting down a few ideas here, and we're gonna test them and see if any of them fit. And how we test them, I'm gonna say a statement. You repeat it back out loud, because out loud can make a difference. And then I want you to rate it on a scale of 0 to 100%. How powerful does it feel? Not how true it is. None of these is going to be at all true. Not logically, not rationally, not morally or ethically. They're not at all true. But if they feel powerful, they're going to have an effect. That means they're in your subconscious. 0 would be nothing, nothing's there at all. 100% might feel so powerful, it actually feels true to you. Okay. And I've had people have different ways that they measure that. Some people, it's a physical reaction. Ooh, it's like a kick in the gut. Yeah, it's 83% true. Some people feel like an emotional reaction. Oh, yeah, that's really heavy. It's 92% true. And I don't get either of those. So people like me will have a number pop in their head and go,
Mhm.
oh, okay, that one's 63%. That's what it is. So, okay. So you might have a different way. If you do, let me know. But any of those three work just fine. It's just for how powerful it feels. Okay.
Okay.
Let's try it. All right. Say out loud, it's not safe to have money.
It's not safe to have money.
0 to 100%. How powerful did that feel?
Like 10.
Okay. So that's not at all powerful.
Mm-mm.
Let's change the wording just a little bit, because sometimes that makes a big difference. It's not safe to be rich.
It's not safe to be rich. That does make a little difference. I'm more like a 35 on that.
35?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're creeping up on this one. Okay. I'm not allowed to have money.
I'm not allowed to have money. Yeah, it is creeping up. That's a 53.
Okay.
You're right. A number pops into my head.
Okay. Great. How about this one? I'm not allowed to be rich.
I'm not allowed to be rich. 85.
Ooh, now we're talking. That one is going to have an effect on you. And so
Mhm.
whenever, I mean, rich is somewhat subjective,
Mhm.
but if your subconscious is saying, no, 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 that's too much, that's too rich, even if consciously and logically you're like, I'm not rich. Look at all the other rich people. I'm not rich. This is just a normal,
Mhm.
you know, it doesn't listen to us when we talk to it like that. We got to do some tapping. All right. Do you have a better way of saying it? Something that's going to get an even higher number than I'm not allowed to be rich.
I think it's more about I'm not good enough to be rich.
Woo. Okay. How powerful did that one hit you?
Yeah, that was 100.
Okay. So I'm not good enough to be rich. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, that's not true. We know that, right?
Yeah. But it's like
Okay.
that's for other people, not me.
Okay. But if you've got that in your subconscious, I'm not good enough to be rich, you're going to do things that make that happen,
Right.
right? So you'll do a little less marketing or whatever. And at 100%, it's going to have an effect. So let's get rid of that one. All right. So when you say, I'm not good enough to be rich, where do you feel it physically? Anywhere?
I felt it in my heart
Heart. Okay.
and sort of a shockwave through my body.
Oh, that's a big one then. Okay. Um, does it have a color?
It was orangey red.
Orangey red. Okay. Take a sip of water because no sense in hitting yourself if it's not going to work. And it won't work if we're dehydrated. Okay, so let's see what comes up here. We'll start out pretty straightforward, simply. Okay, and I'm going to ask you, since we've never worked together before, don't close your eyes while we're working. Sometimes people are like, they're going off. I don't do that now because we haven't worked together, and I want to make sure you stay in the here and now and not get hooked by an old memory or an old trauma. Okay, all right. I mean, you can blink, but all right. So let's tap.
Should I take my glasses off?
Yeah, sure. Okay, repeat after me. Even though a huge part of me is telling me
Even though a huge part of me is telling me
I'm not good enough to be rich,
I'm not good enough to be rich,
another part of me knows full well I am.
another part of me knows full well I am,
And I'm willing to talk to both parts of me.
and I'm willing to talk to both parts of me.
Even though part of me says, I'm not good enough to be rich,
Even though part of me says I'm not good enough to be rich,
I know that's a young part of me,
I know that's a young part of me
trying to keep me safe.
trying to keep me safe.
So I deeply and completely accept that part of me.
So I deeply and completely accept that part of me.
So even though part of me says, I'm not good enough to be rich,
So even though part of me says I'm not good enough to be rich,
I'm willing to explore that.
I'm willing to explore that.
I'll keep what I need and let go of what I don't.
I'll keep what I need and let go of what I don't.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
Is it okay if I have you swear?
Yeah.
Okay. Bullshit.
Bullshit.
No, I'm not good enough to be rich.
No, I'm not good enough to be rich.
Of course I'm good enough to be rich.
Of course I'm good enough to be rich.
I do fantastic work with people.
I do fantastic work with people.
Yeah. I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm totally good enough to be rich.
I'm totally good enough to be rich.
Okay, so both parts are coming up here, right? So it's good to have both of them have a say. I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good. Where? Oh,
Under your arm.
thank you. I'm not good enough to be rich.
I am good enough to be rich.
I am good enough to be rich.
Okay, so that was just a little bit of back and forth tapping. I like to do that to sort of mix it up in there, and 100%. That's a pretty tight grip on you, and we maybe loosen the grip a little bit. So now I want to go do some exploring and find out where this might be coming from. One way I like to do that is what I call fill in the blank. And how that'll work is we'll be tapping along, and I will say part of a sentence. You repeat what I said, and then you finish the sentence with whatever comes to mind. So don't edit yourself. Don't, oh, that's stupid, or I shouldn't think that, or I already said that. It's okay to repeat yourself. Or if it's ridiculous, that's sometimes the best ones, because then we know it's your subconscious or a really young part of you that you don't agree with now, but it's still in there, right? And we want to get that all out. Now, if there's anything that comes up that you don't want to say out loud, that's okay. You can just hum it. I won't know what you're saying, but if you hum the word, oh, it's because now you called that up to the front part of your brain, and the tapping will be effective. If you feel like saying it, great, because then I can probably do some faster work. But I've also done this with people where I never knew what we were tapping on, and it works. So I'm okay with whatever you decide to do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So a little fill in the blank. Even though part of me still says I'm not good enough to be rich.
Even though part of me says I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm curious where that's coming from.
I'm curious where that's coming from.
So even though part of me tells me I'm not good enough to be rich,
even though part of me tells me I'm not good enough to be rich,
I'm open to understanding what that's all about.
I'm open to understanding what that's all about.
So even though I'm telling myself I'm not good enough to be rich,
even though I'm telling myself I'm not good enough to be rich,
I'm okay with that belief.
I'm okay with that belief.
And I'll be okay when I let it go.
And I'll be okay when I let it go.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
One reason I know that's true is
I had a tough childhood.
Yeah. I had a tough childhood, so I'm not good enough to be rich.
I had a tough childhood, so I'm not good enough to be rich.
And that's utter bullshit because
I am who I am today.
That tough childhood taught me a lot. It gave me a lot of resources and tools. It built up my strength. It helped me be more empathetic with the people I work with. It gave me so much. It's actually one of the reasons that I totally am good enough to be rich.
It's actually one of the reasons why I'm totally good enough to be rich.
Right? I mean, you're nodding, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see what else comes up. No, I'm not good enough to be rich because.
No, I'm not good enough to be rich because. I always felt like I wasn't good enough to, I don't know, I wasn't that good enough, like that good.
And I decided I wasn't that good enough when I was how old?
I decided I wasn't that good when I was probably 16.
Okay. And I was a really smart 16-year-old.
I was a really smart 16-year-old.
But I was only 16.
I was only 16.
I didn't know all the things I know now. And I hadn't experienced all the things I've experienced since then.
I hadn't experienced all the things I've experienced since then.
So at 16, I was telling myself, well, I'm not good enough for that.
At 16, I was telling myself I'm not good enough for that.
Trying to make sense of the world around me. If my 16-year-old self were standing in front of me now.
If my 16-year-old self was standing before me now.
So I'm going to have you fill in the blank, but I want you to be kind to your 16-year-old self. She's doing the best she could with what she had, okay? So if she's standing in front of you, the thing I would want to tell her about that is.
Just because you're giving up horses right now doesn't mean there isn't a whole lot of other things for you to be great at.
Yeah. And you're going to be so great at what?
You're going to be so great at business and leadership, and you have so much to give.
Yeah. And I know that because.
I'm here.
Yeah, I've been a leader and I've been a business owner and I'm really good at it.
I've been a leader, I've been a business owner, and I'm really good at it.
And that means you're going to be good at it. Okay. So is your 16-year-old self listening?
Yeah.
She got any questions for you?
Is it, how long is it going to take?
Well, I mean, we're not going to lie to her, but I mean, we're always improving, right? You can tell you're always going to be improving, but you'll start seeing some really good signs by when?
Oh, you'll start seeing some good signs in your early 20s.
Yeah, so it's not that far away.
It's not that far away.
You are good enough.
You are good enough.
You don't have to worry about that now.
You don't have to worry about that
I'm all grown up. I'll take care of you.
now. No, all grown up. I'll take care of you.
Go off and hang out with your friends.
Go off and hang out with your friends.
So is she still there? Or did she go off to do teenage things?
Still there.
Oh, okay. Does she need something else from you? You can ask her.
She needs me to believe in her.
Tell me, Jill, do you believe in that 16-year-old girl?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell her and tell her why you believe in her. I totally believe in you because.
I totally believe in you. Because you're special.
Oh, yeah.
And you've got something special to give the world.
Mm-hmm. She's got a big heart. She's so smart. Mm. She's going to help so many people.
Yeah.
And in part, she's going to be able to do it because of what she's been going through. She's really special, isn't she?
She is special.
Don't you think she's good enough to be rich?
She's good enough to be rich.
She deserves that, right?
She deserves that.
Tell her.
You deserve it.
You deserve to be rich.
You deserve to be rich.
I know that was hard to say. Well, we got to talk to our younger selves sometimes because they don't get it. They're stuck in, the old rules and all the old stuff they heard. Okay. So tell me what's coming up for you right now. Are you feeling anything physically?
Tears.
Tears. Okay. Are they, good tears or bad tears? I mean,
good tears.
Good tears. Okay. So that's a way we can release energy, hold energy that we've been holding on to. Aside from all the other reasons we cry, but that can be one of the reasons that the tears come. And so that's a really good sign here. All right, let's see where we are. Take a deep breath in and let it out nice and slowly. All right, let's do it again. Say out loud, I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
0 to 100%, how powerful did it show up that time?
70 was the number I got.
70?
Yeah.
Cool. That's a whole lot better than 100%.
It is.
Okay. Did you still feel it in your heart?
No, it didn't have the impact on me at all.
There's no physical place that it showed up?
Mm-mm.
Okay, cool. Well, let's see what's still in there. We have a few more minutes. Let's see if we can't bring it down a little bit more. The lower that number is, the easier it is to hold on to the money, to instead of having to be on a roller coaster, to let it come in and let it be there. Even though part of me is still warning me.
Even though part of me is still warning me.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I know that part of me has its reasons.
I know that part of me has its reasons.
So I'm willing to find out what they are.
So I'm willing to find out what they are.
So even though part of me still says, I'm not good enough to be rich.
So even though part of me still says, I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm really curious about that.
I'm really curious about that.
I'm open to having a conversation with that part of me.
I'm open to having a conversation with that part of me.
So even though part of me is telling me I'm not good enough to be rich.
Even though part of me is telling me I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm willing to get to the bottom of that.
I'm willing to get to the bottom of that.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich.
It's important that I believe that because.
It's important that I believe that because. It'll keep me in my place.
And it's important to keep me in my place because.
It's important to keep me in my place because. It makes other people happy.
Yeah. And somewhere I got along the line, I learned that I had to keep other people happy.
Somewhere I learned I had to keep other people happy.
And when I was little, I really did.
And when I was little, I really did.
That's how I knew I'd be kept taken care of.
That's how I knew I'd be taken care of.
I mean, when we're little kids, we're hardwired to be connected to some adult who's going to keep us alive, basically. So we internalize the rules that work with that adult. We're adults. So you internalize, I got to make everyone happy. And to do that, I need to keep in my place, be one down.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And does this fit with what you remember?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we can really honor the little kid who did that, who said, okay, I got to take that one down position. I got to do that because that's what they need from me. And it may not have been conscious, might have been, but it's now in the subconscious. So guess for me when you made that decision. I have to decide, did I have to stay in my place? How old?
7. Yeah.
7. Well, because what was going on when I was 7 was?
Because what was going on when I was 7 was pretty tough.
It was tough. And you don't have to go into the details. But to keep some adult or adults in your life okay, you couldn't really stand out and be as good as you could be. Fair?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's love that 7-year-old girl who did what she had to. And she succeeded because you're here. You're alive. In part because she did what she did. But what I've learned since I was 7 about this is.
But what I've learned since I was 7 is that I've got a place that's much higher.
Do you still have to keep those other people happy? That other person or people happy?
I don't have to keep them happy.
They may not even be in your life anymore, right? So,
they are.
Oh, they are.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not your job to keep them happy.
It's not my job to keep them happy.
And you know that now.
Oh, I know that now.
Now the 7-year-old had to keep them happy.
Yeah, 7-year-old did.
Repeat after me. But I'm not 7 anymore.
I'm not 7 anymore.
I'm all grown up.
I'm all grown up.
The only person I need to keep happy is me.
The person I need to keep happy is me.
And I know that I'm good enough to be rich because.
And I know that I'm good enough to be rich because.
Repeat yourself. Say something new.
Everybody is.
Everybody is good enough to be rich. And I know I don't have to stay in my place anymore because.
I know I don't have to stay in my place anymore because my place is a different place.
Yeah. I'm rising to the level that I'm here to be at.
I'm rising to the level that I'm here to be at.
I am doing more and more.
I'm doing more and more.
You fill in the blank with, you decide how you want to say this, but I'll put it out there. I'm doing what the universe set me here to do. God.
And what the universe set me here to do.
And the universe did not ask me to play small.
The universe didn't ask me to play small.
The universe wants me to play really big.
The universe wants me to play really big.
So that I help more and more people.
So that I help more and more people.
And I'll know that I'm helping all the people the universe wants me to.
We'll know that I'm helping all the people that the universe wants me to.
When I see much more money coming in.
I see much more money coming in.
And staying here.
And staying.
Consistently coming in.
Consistently coming in.
Because I'm consistently helping all those people.
Because I'm consistently helping all those people.
Any other way you want to say that?
No.
That does it. Okay. So I'm really meant to be rich.
So I'm really meant to be rich.
Because that means I'm helping all those people.
Because that means I'm helping all those people.
Deep breath in. Now out again, nice and slowly. That slow out breath is a nice way to relax, which when we stir up some of this stuff can be a little added bonus to just relax a little. All right, let's see where we are. How are you feeling, by the way?
Pretty good.
Okay. Well, say out loud, I'm not good enough to be rich.
I'm not good enough to be rich. 43.
43. All right, say out loud, I am good enough to be rich.
I am good enough to be rich.
So you're at 100%. How powerful did that feel?
That was an 87.
Good. All right. We don't know what it would have been before we started. I was just too excited to get going. But it's now up to 87. And the other is down from 100% to 43. Now, here's what might happen. It might take a bounce over the next day or two. I don't think it will bounce all the way up to 100%. It doesn't work that way. But if it takes a bounce, or even if it stays at 43%, that all that means is that there's still some things in there supporting that belief that we need to tap and release. But here's something cool that might happen over the next 48 hours. That belief, that number might continue to go down. Even without any more tapping, it might just go down. It might go all the way down to zero because you've started releasing some of that, and more might keep going. I've seen that happen too. So if you want to, in a couple of days, trot that out and say, I'm not good enough to be rich. Just notice what the number is, okay?
Okay.
All right. You still feeling okay?
Yeah.
Any questions for me?
No, that was great.
Great. Hey, and if you want to, you can you can tap around on the not good enough to be rich. You can just say it while tapping. Don't say it without tapping. Tapping continues to release it. If you say it without tapping, then you're doing an affirmation, and you don't want to affirm that one.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'd love to hear how this one goes, but Jill, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for doing this with me.
Thank you.
Take care.
That was great.
Okay.